Welcome to Women Should Know, the podcast and online show that dives into conversations that every woman needs to hear. From career to confidence, relationships, and real life wisdom, we're keeping it unfiltered, raw, and real. I'm Nicole Hurst. Let's get into it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Women Should Know podcast and show. I am here with Michelle Chung. She's a soulmate manifestation coach, and we are going to talk about all things manifestation and dating. So let's jump into it. How are you?
Amazing. Thank you so much, Nicole, for having me here. I'm very excited.
Yeah, I'm excited to chat with you. So I thought we would just jump right in. I know you teach women to stop dating and start manifesting their soulmate. What does that look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So, what I found as being a single woman myself after my divorce, I was single for about 5 years and I was like, hey, why is this so hard? Because I'd had long-term relationships before, I was married, and I was like, I've never actually had to date. So, when I got into this new world, it was like online dating apps and there was matchmaking and there was like dating agencies. I was like, what is all this? So it's like diving into it like eyes wide open. But then after a while, when it was like the fourth or fifth year of being single, I was like, what is going on? I need to change this because I was in my late 30s already. I was like, I still want to have a family. Time is ticking.
Yeah.
So then I stumbled across, and I'd always been in personal growth, but I started moving towards again back to personal growth, spirituality, more. And I studied like energetic medicine, kinesiology, mind body medicine. So I had all this background and all these resources that, there. And I was like, okay, if I'm not, if everything I'm doing, like all the dating and all this external masculine stuff, forcing, chasing, pushing, is not getting me results, then what am I doing wrong? And I love quoting Albert Einstein's, if you're doing things over and over again and expecting different results, that is the definition of insanity. I was like, oh yeah, okay, I better stop doing this dating thing that's really not getting me any closer to meeting my soulmate. So I went a little bit backwards, I guess what they call the feminine. You go back in towards yourself, you work internally, you do the inner work. What starts to be a bit cliche because everyone's like, just do your inner work. And it's, what the heck is that? So I worked with a life coach. I was listening to a lot of business podcasts as well because I love entrepreneurs and that kind of world. And I just was trying to get some extra wisdom around what I was not seeing, what was I doing wrong. And I realized that there's this whole huge world, this new potential out there that if that external world of chasing, pushing, and dating wasn't working, I'm going to try this internal stuff. So that's what, I'm helping women to do now is actually to stop the dating because actually you don't need to do it. Manifesting is this buzzword, but it's like loosely thrown around and it starts to sound really fluffy because it's like, just manifest it. And it's, yeah, but how? And people want those real defined step by step. So I really try to break it down and just make it as succinct and as effective as possible. So what I found that a lot of people are saying, oh, just do your affirmations every day and just talk about what you want and just ask for what you want. And you can do that to blue in the face, but there is actually three things that stop you from actually getting your manifestations. And the word manifesting actually means just to turn into reality. So it's if you're a go-getter and then you just accomplish something really great at work or you've got these great results, you've actually manifested what your initial thought was, which was like, I want to make money or I want to have a great career. So you've manifested it, you've just made it real. So if you want to make your partner real, you have to do the same process, but not in the dating way. So you go back and like I was saying, there's those three things that kind of stop you. Two of those things you have no control over and you can't do anything about. I would say that's karma. And secondly, it's timing. And there could be some other things that stop you, but these are the three that I've identified. And so that third thing is resistance. So that resistance looks like you blocking yourself. So some people might say, oh, you need to see what's blocking you. And it's like, yeah, but how can I see what's blocking me if I don't even know what's blocking me?
Yeah.
So it's a lot of this like very circular kind of thinking that kind of gets you nowhere. So to break through that, I created like a system that you can actually follow that can help you manifest your soulmate or turn your wanting, attracting your partner to come into your life into a reality. And so that's basically how the soulmate manifesting works, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. And I know you mentioned in the thing we were chatting about before that women are operating on a masculine frequency. Can you explain what that means and how it could be affecting their relationships?
Great question. So we are in a very masculine society. We're in a patriarchal society. I think we can all agree with that.
Agree. Yep.
Right? So we are trained from childhood to, if you don't get what you want, you have to try harder. You have to keep trying. You have to hustle harder. And that all relates to pretty much everything in life, right? If you're a go-getting woman and right, and your career is working, then that's because you've hustled and worked really hard. And so it naturally relates for most people that if you're not getting it with your health or your relationships, or you just need to apply that same technique that you've been doing really well in your business and your career to your love and relationships. Now, for women, this actually doesn't work. Why? Because we have a masculine and feminine energy within us. This is just a scientific fact. And because we are born in this form as a woman, we have to use our feminine energy in a way that can be more balanced. So we're more in our masculine energy because we've been trained that way. But what if we actually started to move towards our feminine energy? And I'll explain in a moment what that actually looks like and what it means in order to attract. So that's what everyone's saying, law of attraction, attract your partner, don't do the dating, don't chase. So that's more what it means. And so the feminine, and I'm not talking about feminist, that's actually trying to be feminine, but in a masculine way. That's like being a little bit more aggressive than assertive. That feminine is more like the internal, it's the energy that's intuition, that's stillness, that's actually open, and that's receiving. So in Chinese medicine or even Ayurvedic medicine, we have those kind of polar opposites. Even in universal law, we have polar opposites, masculine being the sun, external, yang energy, right side of the body, and feminine being the moon, the below the earth, internal or left side. So those polar kind of opposites we've overbalanced in our society. So this, I guess, this journey of meeting your partner and manifesting a soulmate can be seen as like a beautiful new journey where you're actually moving towards your feminine energy and being able to balance that instead.
And do you feel like how does stepping into that energy like change the way that we experience love as well?
That's a beautiful question. It's enabling us to receive more. So a great example is me being my masculine energy and attracted this amazing partner. A lot of the time when he wants to contribute to me, sometimes I don't allow it because I'm in my masculine energy thinking, I don't need that, or I'm good. I'm this independent woman. And I guess we see that a lot in women maybe going out on dates where the guy is, hey, let me get the bill, or let me pull your chair out for you, or pick you up at your door. Something like that. This is really old school, like dating that our parents were doing. Those were just natural gestures of a masculine wanting to cherish and nourish you.
Yeah.
And when women are in their masculine, it's kind of, yeah, I'm going to date like a man. I'll meet him at the venue. I'll pick up half the check. And those things are great and they're okay. But what if you could allow your partner or your potential partner to come towards you, maybe 51% instead of you just being 50-50? Because I don't believe in equality, but I believe in balance. But as the masculine biology is external, their role is actually to come towards the feminine. And the feminine is actually about receiving and accepting. And that doesn't mean just you're accepting anyone. That no, we're still being very, sorry,
selective.
Absolutely. We're still being very selective because we're also biologically ensuring the survival of our DNA and to procreate with the strongest of the specimens, right? So it's our job to be selective, but we need to really understand what we're selecting, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does make sense. And I like that you brought up that women want to do everything themselves because I am 100% guilty of that. And I'm blessed that I'm with a partner who is patient with me, but also like I've talked to him a lot about we communicate better than I think most people do. Cause like I'll even realize I'm doing that. I'll be like, hey, I know I said I didn't need your help. I'm like, do you want to help? Do you even talk about am I emasculating you by not letting you help? Because it's never my intention. I just don't want to put you out if you have zero interest. And so I think it's important too when you get comfortable in a relationship to make sure that everyone still feels needed and empowered in a good way. But
Yeah, that's so good. I love that example. I think it's like one of those things like, why would you offer unless you truly wanted to? And
yeah,
you're in a relationship where you're comfortable, and I'm sure you're not being polite just to be polite. So
yeah,
I guess part of that feminine balance is just to allow men to be men. And I think
yeah.
we tend to emasculate men when we try to be masculine, and we're
Masculine.
like, we need to stay in our lane a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah,
So when they're, I want this woman to feel like she's truly cared and loved. And this is how I show it in my masculine kind of way. It may not
yeah,
be the way women want to be shown, but just accepting that's the way he wants to do it
yeah,
is like the feminine part as well. Because it's
yeah.
otherwise you'll be like, no, I want you to show your affection in this way. That's
Right.
also very masculine,
And very
right?
like off-putting too. No one
Yes.
wants to be told how they can give love. Like it's one thing to be like,
Uh-huh.
I need this from you, and another thing to be like, this is the only way that I'll accept it from you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. Yes.
What are some mistakes that high achieving women make in relationships that keep them from attracting like a good right partner?
Yeah, great one. I guess it's a lot of the things that we've spoken about being too much in the masculine and showing that you don't need anyone. And you've got a kind of this attitude of, I don't need anyone in my life. I prefer to be single. I don't want you in my life if you're going to make my life worse. And all that kind of projects outwards and repels
Yeah.
men,
Yeah.
especially the right man. Because funny, because my partner even said to me, the main thing that guys want is to make their woman happy. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And it's
Yeah.
so simple, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you feel that with your partner as well, your husband.
Yeah.
And men are not that complicated. I think women are a bit more complicated because we've got that emotional IQ element.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's really just their prime directive in life is just to make their chosen mate, their partner,
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah.
And biologically, they want their partner to procreate with their specimens, their DNA. So they want to make sure that ensuring survival of their lineage, that they make their partner happy. So
Yeah.
it's, but not to the detriment of their own selves either. And I think a lot of the mistakes that high achieving women do tend to make is because they've had to fight so hard to get some recognition and get to that level in life. And it comes with a lot of competition and maybe sometimes even on stepping on shoulders or stepping on heads or trying to get there,
Yeah.
that
Fighting
we
their
need to
way up.
remember fighting their way up.
Yeah.
So we need to remember that bringing that feminine energy back into the relationship because that way of being in our careers does not translate well to relationships. So you got to curb yourself when thinking, I got that success in my career.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll just be the same way in my relationships. So there's a whole shift that needs to happen, an
Yeah.
identity shift almost
Yeah.
from being, I'm a high powered woman in my career to I'm a loving and nurturing partner
Yeah.
based on balance and femininity and softness and vulnerability to be part of a partnership and not be the dominating one or and I think that's one of the mistakes I've certainly done it myself of
Yeah.
being dominating and strong and then it's suffocating his masculinity and then all of a sudden it's oh but why doesn't he take the lead and why doesn't he take me on dates anymore and why doesn't he
You
take charge
squashed it
of
out of him.
exactly
Yeah.
exactly
Yeah.
so that's one of the tendencies we have that we tend to do
I think it's
so
hard because I think so many people think, again, in their head that this is who they are, like work is who I am. And you can
yeah
have a different role. Like you can be strong and hard and capable at work, and you can be sweet and funny. And I always like joke with
yeah
my husband, I don't feel like people know the real me because like I am very dorky and I am very nerdy. And people get to see that side of me, but like he does. He gets to see me just be completely chill where not many people do.
That's
But
amazing. Yeah, exactly. And I think it's this armor. And there's a quote from John Maxwell, he's one of my mentors, that he says, a strength overused becomes a weakness. So
yeah,
that assertiveness and that power and that independence, and we apply it to all facets of our life. It's like you're allowed to be multifaceted. Like you're this cool, chill person, and that's that vulnerability. And men love that. And I don't want to use that as like a tactic or a tip to get a guy. That's authenticity too.
Yeah. Yeah. This is off topic, on topic. She may watch this, but I might be calling her out. So my brother always dated really needy women, like women who just needed someone to take care of them. And I felt like for a long time, like he was not picking great partners because like he's a go-getter. He does all the things. He's such a good guy. And I'm like, why are you dating these awful women? Like, and he is with someone now who is fabulous. And I was having a conversation with him one day, and I love her. Like they've been together for a few years, and I adore her. But I was like, she was different than the girls you were dating. Just trying to see because like he had like a shift in the caliber of person. And he was like, I know. He was like, and I started dating her, and I realized I needed to get my shit together. And for him,
Oh,
someone who seemed like he already had all his stuff together, I'm like, I like it because she helped him even step into his like higher power, which I think if you
yes.
find someone on the right frequency, you're both going to help each other level up in like different aspects of your life. And so they're just a
100%.
perfect little pair now. But
Oh, I love it. I'm so glad you shared that. And it is actually really the way forward because your partner, and I don't like to use the word should, but your partner, your soul partner, is the one who's meant to grow you.
yeah,
Now, there's a difference between the soulmate and the twin flame. The twin flame will be a tumultuous, almost karmic relationship that kind of really pushes you to grow and triggers you and all that cool stuff.
yeah,
And your soulmate will be somebody who will be you've had this contract that is, hey, in this lifetime, let's catch up when you're around this age and we're going to grow together. So that's
yeah,
like a really beautiful way to look at it. And it is our role as women to encourage our partners to reach their fullest potential. And I
yeah,
think I think one friend mentioned that it's like men want the woman that they first started dating and women want the man for his greatest potential. And so I think that's that conflict in relationships sometimes where she's growing and she's changing and she's developing. She's a mother, she's a teacher, or she's in her element in different ways, right?
yeah, yeah,
And he's kind of, I just want that sexy woman that I first started dating. And that's not the reality anymore because things grow and change. Otherwise, they stagnate and die.
yeah,
And I see this great man in you. Why won't you go there? And
yeah,
she's pushing him to move along, and he's like almost not holding her back, but he's trying to get her to remember who she, really is.
yeah.
And so it's like a beautiful dance, this synchronicity, this, yeah. So it's really interesting, this masculine, feminine in the relationships.
Yeah. I love it so much. So I know you've helped women transform their love lives. Is there like a specific success story that really stands out that you want to share with us?
Oh, yes. So I had one woman come to my workshops. I used to live in Spain and I was holding workshops there, and she was actually traveling and she saw my Instagram and she's, oh, I'm coming to a workshop. And we did the workshop. I didn't hear from her for a while. And then I saw on her Instagram, I'm getting engaged. And I was like, hey, wait, we have to get on a call. You have to tell me what's happening. And so her story is pretty much she came to the workshop. We do a lot of like values workshop. We do a lot of subconscious programming. We'll do a lot of self beliefs and shifting identity work, a lot of the good stuff, personal growth work. And then I also teach 4 strategies on how to actually take action. And so one of her things was like, her intuition was pushing her to go move overseas. So she went and followed that. And I think it was just in a couple of weeks. She said she met somebody within 2 weeks, but because
Mhm.
she'd done that workshop together with me, she was like, he's close, but he's not the one. And then soon after, that's the one that she met, and he was the one. And so
Okay.
now they're getting married this month. And so she basically did the workshop. Maybe about 4 months later, she'd met him. And then they were dating, they got engaged, and then now they're like getting married. So that's one of my favorite stories because it can
Yeah.
actually happen really quickly. People
Yeah.
think just like your career, you have to climb the ladder, you have to do dut, 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 dut.
Yeah.
But with love and with manifesting, it can actually happen really quickly.
Yeah.
As long as you do that thing where you remove that resistance, because that's the
Yeah.
main thing that's blocking you. And then like karma and divine timing can help you
Yeah.
move it along quicker. Or maybe you might have to wait. You maybe have to be learn the virtue of patience.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that story. And several other stories similar where they found their partners very quickly as well.
That's so fun. What's your take on like modern dating? And do you think it's affecting women's ability to find fulfilling relationships?
Yeah, it's interesting because I mean, I've had friends, and I'm sure we've all had friends who've met somebody on a dating app and they're together now. They're married, they have kids or something.
Yeah.
I think if you're on more a spiritual path and you're interested in personal growth, you're interested in developing yourself and reaching your fullest potential, I don't think your guy is on a dating app. I really honestly don't, because I feel like the apps are a very convenient way to meet people,
Yeah.
but you haven't had that growth and shift in order to meet somebody. And
Yeah.
that's truly what happens when you move towards your soulmate, right?
Yeah.
The apps and everything, they're great if you want to have fun, you just want to meet people and have great experiences.
Yeah.
But I feel with the modern dating, it's all become too convenient, and
Yeah.
there's not the nod or the move towards your soulmate being a spiritual union.
Yeah.
The dating apps, like it's a union. Great. That's could be permanent, could be temporary, who knows. But
Yeah.
if you're really interested in meeting someone who's on the same level as you, emotionally, mentally, physically, financially, then you probably want to invest a little bit more time to do this inner work, this manifesting work,
Yeah.
personal growth work, in order to meet somebody who actually fits at your level and vibrates at the same frequency, because
Yeah.
that's really the key.
Yeah.
I went through a ton of dates. Actually, in 2017, I traveled around the world, secretly hoping to meet my guy.
Yeah.
I took my business with me, so I was remote working. I was a designer back in those days, and I didn't meet anyone. I met some that were like maybe 50, 60% close, but and I was using a lot of apps, and I had a lot of fun. And then that's what I wanted, because I'd never really dated in my younger years.
Yeah.
And I wanted to have fun. I wanted to explore and understand myself as a woman. But then there came to a point where it's like, okay, enough. I just want to meet that guy and start
Yeah.
to grow together.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I've talked to a lot of people about dating apps. And one thing that I feel like everyone can agree on is there's just too many options. Like,
Yes.
and
Yes.
so I feel like if you're either side, if you're not really ready to settle down for a long-term relationship, then maybe apps are great. But if you are that person, like that doesn't mean the guy that you're going on a date with is going to not be scrolling when he gets home that night. Like I feel like there's just too many options. Like it's too easy
Yes.
almost to meet people. And
Yes.
so no one will settle because you have thousands and thousands of different options just at your
Yeah.
fingertips.
Yeah. And unfortunately, guys are built that way to spread the seed. They got
Yeah. Yeah.
biologically that seed to spread, and there's also that scientific studies have shown that when you have more choice, you actually get more anxiety.
Yeah.
And when you have limited choice, you can actually make decisions like
Yeah.
way quicker. So
Yeah.
it all just points to the same kind of conclusions.
Yeah. And you're right. It's easier if they're like, hey, here's 3 options versus here's 30 options. Like it's,
Yeah.
I always laugh about the menu at Cheesecake Factory. There's
Yeah.
no way they're doing all of this great. They're just not. So give me a few
Yes,
options that you do well and let me pick.
exactly.
So
100%.
for women who are skeptical about shifting out of their masculine energy, what's one powerful step they can take today to start attracting the right partner?
Oh, I love that. I would say look at what you're resisting, because this is the single most thing that gave me a huge breakthrough. Yes, I did manifesting. Yes, I did the clarity. I did the meditating and did all that. But this one was the game changer. It came from one of my mentors, David Nagel. I was listening to his podcast, and he said, if you're not getting the results that you want in your life, it's because you're resisting something. So from that, I went home and journaled on that, and the result was surprising. So a lot of this is that self work, that it's simple, but it's not easy. And your mind will want to go everywhere else, and it will for the first part. So you got to stick with it. And this is the kind of work that I help women with in my programs, to actually just focus on that and get that clarity, because that's your breakthrough. So one of the examples is one of my clients was really resisting relationships. Why? Because as a high achieving, go-getting woman, she's a doctor, she's successful in her work. Her past relationships weren't great. And as a go-getter, she knows that anything she puts her mind to, she can achieve.
Yeah.
So if A equals B, as in her past relationships, that's all she knew. If that's what she was going to have again, then subconsciously it's like, I need to protect myself. I need to self-sabotage because you do not want to go there again. I'm protecting you.
Yeah.
So when she had that breakthrough of what she was resisting was that success of a new relationship. Why? Because her role models were her parents. They did not have a great relationship, divorced, a lot of fighting, a lot of yelling, trauma, right?
Yeah.
So you'd naturally protect yourself from going there again.
Yeah.
So when you can, and then that step 2 in my program is like rewriting your subconscious beliefs. So there's a great book by Dr. Bruce Lipton, cell biologist. He talks about how our cells in our body hold that memory, that DNA, and it could go forward, even from your ancestors, even going forward to your children, that these beliefs that we hold are so powerful. The thoughts that we hold in our minds are so powerful. They really create our external environment. So if we can change relationships are hard and I don't feel safe and they're not good for me, into a new subconscious program of relationships are easy, relationships are fun, they're loving, I am my best self when I'm with the right person. Those new kind of programming, then you're able to shift, and naturally that comes to you. Like attracts like. It's a scientific principle, right? So we start to very easily call in what people will say, call in, attract, manifest vibrationally matched results, I'd say.
Yeah. No, I love that. I just feel so bad. Like I'm tired of all the apps, and I just want everyone to be happy and to feel loved and to feel joy.
Yeah.
So this is awesome. So tell us how people can find you. I know you mentioned working with you. Can they work with you online? Do you have a book? Tell us how to communicate with you if any of our listeners want to chat with you.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm on Instagram at Michelle Chung Coach. You could also check out my website. I'm running free masterclasses. We can learn about this whole process and see how it applies to you. And you could also book a call with me to chat, and I could create a personalized, tailor-made 3-step system for you to see if that works. I also have an online program. So if you're someone who just wants to get into it and work on it on your own, I also have that option as well. And so, yeah, definitely just come reach out to me, ask questions. I'd love to hear from you.
I love that. Thank you so much for jumping on and chatting with us today.
Thank you. I'm so thankful and grateful that I'm here with you. Thank you so much, Nicole.
You are so welcome.
That's a wrap on this episode of Women Should Know. Did you love it? Then hit the subscribe button, leave a review, and share it with a friend. You can also find me on social media under Women Should Know, because the conversation doesn't stop here. I'll see you next time. Bye!